Hey, I'm Ed Pettersen, and I'll be your host for this ultimate Klon versus Klone shootout. We don't claim for it to be definitive by any means. That's because it would take far more than 2 days to do all of the pedals that claim to be clones of the original Klon Centaur. But we did have 9 pedals to work with. We got to 7 of them, and we were hoping to offer a transparent, comprehensive, and unbiased report on these pedals with some real-world applications by real players here in Nashville, Tennessee. So we hope that you can use this as a starting point and you can do some comparisons of your own. We'd love to hear from you. There'll be some information at the end crawl in the YouTube link, and you can get in touch with all of us individually and myself, of course. And we understand this is going to probably cause some more controversy, but let the wars begin, and we hope that you get something out of this. So thanks for watching, and here we go. Okay, so let's get started. The first player that was kind enough to lend his time and effort is Mike Britt of the legendary country band Lone Star. And he's going to be playing a stock Mexican Telly. He just grabbed it off the wall and plugged it into my Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, which has been modded to open up the mid-range a little bit and have a little more headroom. The volume taper was also worked on, and the drive channel, which we're not playing with today, obviously, because we're working with drive pedals. So we also ran all of the pedals were powered using an Eventide Pedal Power 2. They were isolated, regulated power supply, and we also used a true bypass looping unit so that the tuner was out of the bypass, was in true bypass and out of the signal completely, and each pedal was send and receive in the true bypass looper, and the pedals were wired with lava coily cables. And that's about it. So let's get going with Mike, and we'll talk about each pedal individually, and it will be a blind test. We're not going to tell you what the pedals are in this first video. You're going to vote and decide for yourself. There will be opinion video that will be released later down the road, maybe a few weeks after this. So take it away, Mike. All right, this is Mike Britt playing the original Gold Centaur Klon. You want to bring up
like $1 million?
Or
at least 2,000.
You want to bring a little gain into that?
Yeah, just a smidge.
Okay. So.
Mid-range kind of come out a little bit there. Sounds right.
Sounds right. So that's your Klon with a gain at about 9 o'clock. And now we're going to start switching over to some of the other pedals and compare them back and forth.
Awesome.
Now this is Mike Britt playing pedal A. So that's the amp clean. And now we're going to go to pedal number 2, which 2, 3, and 4 are going to stay unknown to us.
Maybe gain up a little bit to 9 o'clock-ish.
This is Mike Britt going back to the pedal Centaur Klon.
Okay, see if we can get the levels close.
again. By the way, the treble is at 12 o'clock on all of these pedals.
Volume up a hair on that one.
Sounds pretty good.
Does.
Pretty close. And now Mike is going to play pedal B.
Sounds good too.
Now, since we're one pedal removed from the Klon, should we go back to the Klon with no gain? This is without gain on pedal number 2.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
We'll
So
back to...
now we're gonna go back to the Klon with no gain. All right, now pedal number 2 with no gain. Bad. So let's bring up the gain on pedal number 2,
okay.
And then we'll go back and forth at 9 o'clock with the Klon.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I hear the Klon.
Let's hear the Klon. Gain at 9.
Thicker.
Yeah.
Pretty close though.
Pretty close. Pretty close. Definitely a little warmer. Now Mike is playing pedal C. Brighter, yeah?
It is brighter, and it doesn't have the some sort of sweetness that's missing from the other one.
Should we go back to the Klon clean and hear that? We'll go back and forth here. So now we're going to go back to the Klon clean, no gain. Now back to pedal number 3, no gain.
It's more of a feel thing than
Yeah.
I mean, it feels different.
It's like it's actually the way it's responding to your picking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Let's try pedal 3 now with some gain, and then go back to the Klon at 9 o'clock gain.
All right.
Let's see how that goes. So we'll bring some gain in around 9 here. Pedal number 3. Let's go back to the Klon at 9 o'clock gain.
More mid-forward.
A little richer with the gain too.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 3.
Okay.
A little spankier with the gain.
Yeah.
All right, let's go
through all 3 of the non-true Klons and just kind of compare them to each other.
Let's do that. All right, so now we're going to hear.
Get all the gains around 9.
All the gains are at around 9, and they seem to have matched up pretty well with the Klon.
Yeah.
They all did different things, but they matched up gain-wise. So we're going to go one at a time. Pedal 1, 2, and 3 with the gain at 9 o'clock. Number 2. then back to the Klon. It's nice.
It was nice.
All right. All right, now Jack Silverman from the Jack Silverman Ordeal is going to play through his own Les Paul into the same Fender Hot Rod Deluxe amp. By the way, we're all using DiMarzio cables for this whole shootout. Those are the cables going to the pedals and from the pedals to the amp. Jack Silverman plays in a jazz style, so it's also cool to have a completely different playing style from Mike Britt. And now we're going to let Jack play the next 3 pedals in the series. All right, now Jack's going to play the original gold Klon. Now Jack is going to play pedal D. Now we're going to hear pedal E. Now Jack will play pedal F. Back to the Klon and then go to each one of them like quickly in succession so we can compare them now that the levels are pretty close.
Okay, cool.
Back to the Klon.
Okay.
very, very interesting with the gains down. They all had their own little particular thing going on, but you know, they were pretty close.
They were pretty close. A couple of them with the gains down were cleaner, you know. Yeah. Some of them started with a little more grit with the gain down, but yeah, they are very close.
Very close. Okay, so let's start now. Let's go back to. I'm going to bring the Klon gain at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And then do that for the other ones, and we'll do the same thing we did with the last round.
I'll keep going back and forth a little bit between the pickups.
Yeah, and I'll announce what I'm switching to as we go. So let me put the gain at the Klon at 9. I should mention that, again, all of the trebles are at noon.
Okay.
And I've been adjusting the levels to try to match them as we go along.
Gotcha.
So, but that was pretty interesting. Again, they were pretty close, a lot closer than I thought they were going to be. So. Back to the Klon and then one more run through. now let's do one last run through with the gain at 3 o'clock. Let's really rack it up there and see what we can get, right? The output levels as we go, but right now, so we've got still the treble at noon on everything, and we're going to try to match the levels, but this is the Klon with the gain at... Number 6. So Jack, like, let's talk about, without naming the pedals, we'll do that in a separate segment.
Okay.
But how did they feel to you, 4, 5, and 6, compared to your original Gold Centaur clone?
You know, it's interesting. I really like the Klon. I don't think it's like so magical that there aren't a lot of other pedals that could you know, make me happy, you know. But I mean, obviously I haven't sold it, so I like it, you know. But number 5 has less gain, it seems like, as you turn it up, which can be a good thing in the sense that it has, if what you're looking for is a low gain overdrive, you have more flexibility in that range.
Interesting you say that, because that's the cleanest and sweetest of the gain or the boosts of the ones. I found that shockingly, pedal number 3, which we'll name later, is a pedal that I'm not familiar with, but got pretty damn close at all, you know, stations of the clock.
I feel like pedal 4, and I might want to hear it again just to confirm if this is my take. It felt, and this is not a bad thing, it felt a hair more compressed than a couple of the other pedals, almost more in a Tube Screamer vibe.
Interesting. So let's get back to, you mentioned, you want to hear number 4 again.
Let's hear the Klon and then number 4. Let's go back and forth.
All right, here's the Klon again.
It's a little more, it's got more gain, I think, in general on tap, and it's a little more compressed, which is, you know, sometimes I like that. It depends what I'm going for.
Yeah, it's got its own thing.
Yeah, it's got its own
It's
thing.
got its own thing. Now, this is number 5. I want to get back to that for a second, because that intrigued me because of the sweetness of that clean boost and the sweetness of the gain. Like, the gain's pretty high, and yet it's still not freaking out.
set now?
The gain is at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
But the output is like at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so there's a lot more gain on. There's a lot more volume on.
A lot.
Where was the gain on the Klon set?
At exactly the same.
So they're similar in every. Can you dime the drive on that pedal there? Yeah. 95. I like that.
Okay, now we're going to try a completely different approach. Now Gary Goodlow, the guitar player in my band, the Highline Riders, is going to play through all of the pedals in series, powered with a different power supply, the DC brick, and not going through the looper. The purpose of this is to show each individual pedal and its own unique attributes, because we're not trying to make any value judgments here. We're just trying to be as transparent and informative about these pedals as possible. And each pedal can have its own unique value to you as a player in your rig. They'll all respond differently depending on your rig, your guitar, your amp, the other pedals that you're using. So we wanted to show you each individually so you can hear them and have them adjusted widely and played in series one at a time in sequence. So Gary Goodlow is now going to take it away. He's playing now his Les Paul, which he'll describe to you through a top hat amplifier. So take it away, Gary.
All right, well, what we got gear-wise here for this comparison is a Gibson Les Paul, historic 54 reissue, yeah, P90s. Top hat, super deluxe amplifier, sweet piece of gear, love it. Here's the bass tone. My whole thing with a Klon type of pedal is it's definitely not a bedroom type pedal, not something you just plug into a clean amp and step on and expect to get a nice crunchy gain at bedroom volume levels. It's definitely the magic, as everybody says about the Klon, is you got an amp that's cooking, that has a nice maybe a nice edge of breakup tone or a little bit of crunch going on. You step on the Klon and bingo, you got that sweet low mid push with a little bit of sparkle on top, and it's just great. So here's the bass rhythm tone with the bridge pickup.
So the first pedal Gary's looking at here is the Monsterpiece Stud. And we're going to take each pedal through a wide range of their variables through the controls. So you're going to hear from no gain to lots of gain and some tone control as well. So right now we're going to hear the Monsterpiece Stud.
Give me a little bit of gain. Maybe roll the tone to about 10 o'clock. Let's hear. Let's give it. Yeah, a little bit of. There we go. It's important with these to get to that sweet spot where your low notes still have clarity and snap, but your high notes are not taking the top of your head off. Klon operates in the mid-range mostly, so you get that sweet. Top end to it, I think, anyway. Very nice.
Now Gary's going to play the Soul Food, the Electro-Harmonic Soul Food. It's easily the most inexpensive pedal that we're testing today. And Gary, take it away.
Sound like we have our volume a little hotter on the Soul Food. Yeah, I like that one. Let's give it a little more gain and volume. Let's just give that thing a rip.
Next is the Fredric Effects Zombie. It's a pedal you'll hear us referring to in some of the earlier tests, and we couldn't remember the name, but now we know. We have it memorized. The Fredric Effects Zombie.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Now we're going to hear Gary play through the VFE Merman. The Merman has a lot of controls, a lot more controls and variables than any of the other pedals in this test. So we're going to probably spend a little bit more time on it. So please forgive us on that, but trust me, it'll be worth it. The VFE Merman.
That's with the gain almost all. Is it all the way off?
All the way off.
All the way off. Just give real nice, just string to string clarity on this guy. Really, real nice sweetness to it. I really like it. Give me some gain. And some more volume. Give it a kick. Now, what are some of the extra features on that one? We have the bottom control.
Yep.
Can you dial in a little bit of bottom. And then the warmth. How about a little warmth? the other one is compression. A little bit of compression. Let's see what that does. So even when dialing in a little bit of compression, it still has a really nice clarity to it, and that even the warmth and the additional bottom end still sounds really... Yeah, that's a winner in my book.
Now Gary's going to take you through the ARC Effects Klone, which is one of the more popular Klon clones out there on the market.
Girth. Turning up the gain. Just let's kick that gain up. Yeah, let's do that. Like that.
Now Gary's going to play through the Sarno Earth Drive. The Earth Drive is not in the direct comparisons in the earlier videos, in the true bypass comparisons directly with the Gold Klon. That's because it's not exactly a Klon clone. However, we're showing it to you here because it's become very popular lately because Nels Cline has replaced his original Gold Klon with the Earth Drive on his pedal board. I've It's a little fuzzier than some of the other pedals, which may be why there's a lot of pedal steel players using it, but you'll be able to hear it for yourself right now.
Love a little more girth and drive. That's got more. Let's hear it. Let's maybe take a little bit of that tone off. Yeah, down about there. There we go. Dig that one a lot. I can see why Nels likes it.
Last but not least, the Rocket Pedals Archer.
I don't think there's a dog in the bunch. I think they all have their, they all have just, they have the basic thing of the Klon going on. Some of them have, some extra features, like the Merman especially has, just extra EQ options. You can add in bottom, and then you can add in warmth, which I assume cuts the highs, and then you can add in compression. The Earth Drive, obviously, you can probably has a bit more gain on tap than some of the others. The Archer just kind of does the dead on Klon thing. The Monsterpiece, again, a basic Klon type circuit, seems to have a little bit more low end than some of the others, which, depending on your rig, you may really, really like that. If I was playing a telly into a deluxe reverb, I might end up with totally different results as to which one, stood out to me and which one just didn't work. As it is, I didn't think any of them did not work. I would think you would do well with any of these guys. So that's what I think. That's my take. Give me a little bit more. Turn off. Give me some more of the Monsterpiece. I want to hear that again, but give me some more gain and volume. Okay. One thing we've noticed with these pedals is that if you just set all the controls to the same spot, you might not really get the best the pedal has to offer. In other words, if you say, well, the best settings on my favorite settings on the Klon are on an original Klon are gain at 10 o'clock, treble at 10 o'clock, and maybe the volume at noon or 1 o'clock, you might not get the same results if you set one of these in those same spots. But if you tweak them and move it around, you might find a spot that even more closely resembles the Klon than you thought. So again, each of these pedals has their strengths. I think they're all great. No issues.
Okay, so now I'm going to give you my personal opinions separately from the Shootout of what I thought of each pedal. The Monsterpiece Stud. This pedal is very impressive, but includes a little bit more compression in its circuit to my ears than some of the other pedals. However, it also had a lower bottom, which can be very attractive to some people and depending on your rig. And that can be very, very cool. I happen to like a lot of bottom in my rig, sometimes to a fault. But that's my opinion of the Monsterpiece Stud. It was very good. It really worked at higher gains, by the way, which I thought was really cool. But it had more bottom than your standard Klone copies, and definitely from the original Klon. The Electro-Harmonic Soul Food. This was not my favorite. It worked really well as a clean boost. When you brought more gain into it, I thought it got a little fizzy. I wasn't crazy about it, but there are mods out there for this pedal. You can find that stuff on the web. Those mods sound pretty cool to me. I think they could really make it a better pedal. It's not bad for $62. Come on, what do you expect? The Fredric Zombie. The Fredric Zombie, I really like this pedal. It's the same enclosure size as the Soul Food. However, it really compared very favorably to the original Klon. A little fuzzier, but really, really close. I'm very impressed by that, and $180 ain't bad. The Merman, the VFE Merman. Dare I say that this is one of my two favorites in the Shootout. I don't want to gush too much, but this one has obviously the most versatility. Its clean boost is way sweeter than any of the others in the Shootout. The gain, you can get a lot higher with the gain on the Merman and still get that sweetness without it getting all fuzzy and fizzy and falling apart. I really like that. It also has compression, and it has 2 EQ alternatives. Really cool, you know? So I really like that. The Effects Klone. Believe it or not, there's a lot of yay and nay about this clone out there. What worked for me was the gain settings from 10 o'clock and higher, and really higher at 3 o'clock was fantastic. That was much cooler than I expected from this pedal. However, the clean boost didn't work so well for me on this. The Earth Drive, which wasn't in the direct comparison again, but I was glad I got to hear it. I can totally understand why lap steel players are using this, because it's really got that warm, fuzzy thing going on, and it could have some uses for, you know, regular guitar purposes, but, you know, it's a no-brainer for lap steel. And finally, the Archer, the Rocket Pedals Archer. To me, the Rocket Pedals Archer was clearly, right out of the box, clean boost, kick it in, was the closest to the clean boost of the original Klon. Also, when you got up to about 2 o'clock on the drive, on the gain of this pedal, it really sang to me and was definitely close to the original Klon. Above 2 o'clock, it kind of fell apart a little bit gain-wise, but was still usable for most players, just not for my purposes. But I will add that I play a lot of slide, and out of all the pedals for slide, the Archer with the gain around noon to 2 o'clock was unbelievable. All of these pedals have something to offer. The manufacturers should be commended on doing their own unique things and having their own unique characteristics, and you should really try it if you can before you buy. Try before you buy, and find out which one works best in your rig. But I really appreciate you listening to our Shootout and what we have to think about it personally. So we really appreciate you taking the time to sit through all of our comparisons in this test and check out all the work we did here. We hope you got something out of it. If you're sick of the backbiting and nonsense and trolling on all these internet forums, we were trying to bring some clarity to this and maybe bring some real-world advice, real-world application. Again, it's not definitive, okay? Go out and try these for yourself. But if you already own one of these pedals, before you sell it or trade it, maybe you learn something new and you could check out a new way to use it. There's a lot of information on the web. A lot of it's crazy. It gets out of hand. We're hoping that maybe this brought you something. I want to thank John Harrison at the Gear Page for lending us his Effects Klone. Philip Dodge at the Tone Report for lending us a few of his pedals for this Shootout. Aaron at Effects. Richard at Monsterpiece for sending us his wonderful pedal. Peter at VFE Effects. Fantastic stuff they do. Chris at Rocket Pedals. Another great manufacturer. Donner at Barefoot Pedals. Donner did not have a horse in this race, but like the rest of us, he wanted to hear how this all sussed out, and he lent us a few of his own personal collection, none of which were Barefoot pedals. So cool on you, Donner. And Ray Maxwell at Eventide for lending us the Eventide Power Factor 2 so that we could have isolated power for all of these pedals. And last but not least, the players, Gary Goodlow from the Highline Riders Band. You'll find us a link below. Jack Silverman from the Jack Silverman Ordeal. You can see them every Monday playing in Nashville, but check out some of their stuff. They're fantastic. I love that band. And another band I love, Lone Star. Mike Britt, founding member of Lone Star. Thank you, Mike, for showing up. And he didn't expect to play, and he answered the call and just was fantastic. And especially Mike Green at Studio C Nashville Audio and Video Production. If you come to Nashville, look up Mike. He's a superb human being and gave of his facilities and time, and we can't thank you enough. He'll have a link below here too so that you can click on it and follow up with all of us. And again, write to us. Find us on the web. We're not hard to find. We're all on the gear page. Let the storm begin.